Okay, so today we're going to be doing a couple of things. We're going to be using Ubuntu server as a web server, and we're also going to create a couple of user accounts and a shared folder and assign different permissions to those users for that folder. The first step that we would need to take to do this is to make sure that we have our pfSense router up and running, and then we will start Ubuntu server. Okay, we've booted into our Ubuntu server virtual machine. The first thing that I need to do is go ahead and log in with the user account that I created when I made this virtual machine. Okay, now the first step that we need to take, that what we want to do, is use this as a web server. So in order to do that, we need to do a couple of things. The first thing that we want to do is get an update. So in order to do that, I'm going to use a command line prompt of sudo apt -get update. Then I'll be prompted for my password. And now we're installing the update necessary before we install our package that will allow us to use this as a web server. Now we have finished installing the update, so I'll go ahead and clear this screen off so we can see what we're working with a little better. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to install something called Apache 2, which is going to allow us to use user accounts on this machine. So I need to do another command line, which will be sudo apt -get install Apache 2. And as we're being prompted here that after this operation we're going to use more disk space, of course that's fine, so we'll press Y to continue. Okay, so now that we have installed Apache in our update, what we want to do is to make sure that we actually have our web server up and running properly. So real quick, I'm going to switch over to my Windows virtual machine and open up this web browser. And I'm going to type in the IP address that I've assigned to Ubuntu server. So that's 172.16.0.20. And if I do that, we're going to see that the Ubuntu server is running. Here's the default page and works. So I'm going to exit back out of this, and we'll do some more things in Ubuntu server with our user accounts. Alright, so the next step that we want to take is to install ACL, which is going to help us with our accounts and what we're going to be doing with our accounts. So I'm going to type in the command line sudo apt -get install ACL. The next thing we're going to do is actually add users. So what I want to do is sudo add user John. And let's give John a password, and we will confirm his password. And his full name is going to be John. And there's some other information that we could put in here, but we don't need to do that right now. That's fine. And we know who he is. So John's going to be the reader. And what we're going to do now is create another user account. And this one is going to be able to write as well as read the shared folder. So we're going to use another command line. Do the same thing here with add user. And this one is going to be Mary. And again, I'm going to go ahead and use this other line to go ahead and make sure that we can create her account. And we'll give her a password. We'll confirm her password. And we'll just retype her name in. All the information is correct. We will say yes. So now we've created our two user accounts. Okay, the next thing we want to do here is to actually create the shared folder. So in order to do that, I'm going to use another command line, which is make directory. And shared folder. Shared folder. So now we have share folder. And we're going to use another command line, which is going to be to assign permissions and look into this folder, which will be what you see here on the screen. Okay, now we're going to set permissions for this folder. So we're going to start with John, who's going to be the reader. So what we're going to do is type in a command set FACL R DM U colon John colon R dash X space slash shared folder. And we're going to do the same thing again, except that we're going to take out the D. Next, we're going to work on Mary. Now, Mary is going to have different privileges to this folder than John does. So we're going to set this up in a similar fashion to begin with. So we're going to have you, Mary, and she is going to have read, execute, and she's going to have read, write, and execute privileges for the shared folder. And similar to what we just did with John, we will go ahead and run this again and remove the D. Enter that information. Now, okay, what I've realized is that I needed to go back in the VI editor in our fstab file and change a portion of it where the remount is, where I added the accounts, basically what we're using to manage these accounts, and I need to move that over. And as you can see down here, it's another command that's the sudo to mount, unmount, and then remount. So now that's actually correct. And to go back to what we've done and to basically check and make sure that we've done everything correctly, what we're going to do is type in another command prompt, which is going to be get facl of the shared folder. And if we look in our shared folder, we can see that the different users have different permissions. John has read and execute permissions of the shared folder. Mary has read, write, and execute permissions of the shared folder. So we've actually finished with everything that we've set out to accomplish. We have upgraded the Ubuntu server into a web server and shown that through another virtual machine. We've also added 2 users to our Ubuntu server and created a shared folder, and we've assigned permissions to the users for the shared folder. So that covers everything that we needed to accomplish today.